Do you like eating glue? How about snorting some crayons? Well, I think I might have found the deck for you. Introducing the latest addition to the Glue Bell saga, Sacred Beast. This deck is the very definition of turn your brain off and smack your phone screen until your opponent dies. Seriously, the biggest decision you have to make when playing this deck is which of these voice lines do I choose to BM my opponent with before I hit them in the face with an attack 4 times their starting life total. If you're the kind of player that's sick to death of all of these different combo decks and sick of trying to make all of these different decisions under the pressure of a timer that's about as small as what you got going on in your pants, this deck might be for you. So here's today's deck list. But apparently nearly 50% of people watching this aren't even subscribed to the channel, so if you guys are new around here or returning viewers and think you might want to see some more videos from me in the future, please remember to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel down below. I still have a whole bunch of videos planned on the latest box coming out over the upcoming days, so if you don't want to miss out any of those, please remember to subscribe and let's get into this deck list. Alright, so to start us off, let's check out the brand new skill, Sacred Beast Beckoning. So this skill has 2 effects to worry about. The first one is you can reveal one of your Sacred Beasts in your hand, shuffle 1 card from your hand to the deck, then add one of your Sacred Beasts or a monster that mentions it from your deck to your hand. Then you have the second effect. If your opponent has a card in their field or in their graveyard, very important to note is if your opponent hand traps you or they're playing the Shadol skill that starts with trap cards in their graveyard or the Shiranui skill that starts with a monster in their graveyard, you can shuffle 1 monster from your hand or field into the deck, and play one of your Sacred Beasts from your deck to your field in face down defense position. Its battle position can be changed, so anytime your opponent hand traps you or has a card in the graveyard, you can just slam a Sacred Beast straight to the field. And of course, the first part of the skill just lets you just have a ton of consistency with this deck list, because it searches for practically your entire deck list if you have a Sacred Beast in your hand. So as it's been a heck of a long time since Sacred Beast was even remotely relevant in Duel Links, I'll try to give you a brief rundown on all different cards in here, starting off with the Sacred Beasts themselves. Now these cards, their actual effects don't really matter too much and are honestly quite pathetic. It's mostly the supporting cards around them which make these cards good. So basically your Raviel, when your opponent normal summons, it puts a token on the field, and additionally you can tribute monsters on your field to make this thing gain attack equal to the monsters you tribute. Then we have your Hamon. This card, when your opponent tries to attack you, can only attack this card, and when it destroys one of your opponent's monsters by battle, it deals an additional 1000 damage. Then we have your Uria. This card is... it's complete rubbish. This card is dog shit. We're basically only playing it because the skill requires it. It has a nice effect where you can, when you summon it from the deck with your skill, you can sort of flip it face up to pop one of your opponent's back row, and that's like the only use it has, because it can destroy your opponent's back row. But that's it, has 0 attack, it's completely worthless otherwise. We wouldn't run this thing if we didn't have to. Alright, then we have your Dark Beckoning Beast. This card is just your main searcher for the deck list. Normal summon it, search your deck for any of your cards, and additionally it gives you another normal summon of a monster with 0 attack, which will normally be your Chaos Summoning Beast. This thing when normal summoned, or just when it's on the field, you can tribute it to special summon one of your Sacred Beasts from your hand, and additionally you can bash it from the graveyard to search for your field spell. And the final monster in the deck is your Raviel, Lord of Phantasms, Shimmering Scraper. This thing has a quick effect, you can discard it from your hand to target your Raviel and basically just double its attack for the rest of the turn, which is pretty insane because you make this thing have like 16,000 attack. You can have this thing on the field, tribute another Sacred Beast, give it another 4,000 attack, so it's 8k already, then double it, making it 16. It is insane, so very fun card to use. Also, when it's in the graveyard, you can tribute a monster on your field to add it from your graveyard back to your hand. Also, I forgot to mention, it can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each when you do double its attack, so 60,000 attack into every single one of your opponent's monsters. They're probably going to be dead. Moving on to your spell and trap cards, we have your Opening of the Spirit Gates. This card, when it's activated, can add one of your monsters from your deck to your hand, as long as it's a Sacred Beast or mentions a Sacred Beast. Then it has a couple of effects. The first one is, once per turn you can discard 1 card, summon back one of your 0 attack, 0 defense fiend monsters from your graveyard back to your field. Then it has another effect, where once per turn, if you control a level 10 monster, you can add 1 continuous spell from your graveyard to your hand. Or sorry, your Gravy Rad to your hand. Yeah. Anyway, so a cool play you can make with this is if you open 2 copies of this, you can activate this thing's effect, discard the other copy, revive back one of your monsters, then you can use its second effect to add back that continuous spell once again, so you don't really lose any resources. So it's not even too bad to open multiple of this. Alright, next up we have your Cerulean Skyfire. This card has 2 effects to worry about. The first one is, if you have a Hamon on the field in attack position, by changing its battle position, you can negate the effects of your opponent's spell and trap cards when they try to use them. Then has another effect, where when one of your Sacred Beasts leaves the field, you can't take any more damage for the rest of the turn, which is a very annoying effect in Duel Links, as I'm sure you're well aware from that annoying Shimmering trap card. If you can't take any damage for a turn, especially in an OTK deck like this one, you're probably going to be able to kill your opponent on the following turn anyway, so a very powerful card. Then we have your field spell. This thing has 2 effects. The first one is it makes all of your monsters or your Sacred Beasts completely untargetable and completely indestructible, so already really annoying and hard to deal with in Duel Links. Additionally, if you have one of your Sacred Beasts on the field, you can just draw 2 cards, so draws a shit ton of cards and get you into your hand traps or your treacherous, and it makes your monsters just immune to your opponent's stuff, so powerful ass field spell. As for the rest of the deck, honestly, it's all cards you've probably seen before, so I don't really need to go through them, but a couple of key things to note. The reason we're playing so many hand traps is obviously because, first of all, drawing into them feels really good. Secondly, we have a lot of continuous spells and stuff going on here, so having multiple back row means you just would not be able to play them. And last but not least, because your skill specifically needs to send monsters for the second effect, you want to make sure you have a bunch of monsters in your hand, otherwise you might have to discard things like your starters or your Sacred Beasts or stuff that you don't really want to get rid of, so it's perfect to have just a bunch of monsters that you can send instead. Alright, as for the extra deck, there's a couple of cards in here you absolutely do not want to cut, but the extra deck itself isn't super important to this deck, but there are some things you definitely don't want to cut. The main one being your Pentestag. This thing is really important. It's a card that offers piercing damage, and a lot of the time, your opponent, especially if they know what you're playing, will just put their stuff in defense, and you need a way to lethal them, which is really easy to do. Just normal summon one of these, second normal summon, turn those 2 cards into a link, then summon out your big dude with your skill, and you just pierce through all of your opponent's stuff. So, you need to have a copy of this card. I highly recommend it. Other cards that are pretty good, this card you get a lot of value out of, because a lot of the time, this thing's sitting on the field with 0 attack, and that's a pretty scary thing. Even if you have a monster on the field that can sort of redirect the attacks to itself, sometimes you just don't want to have a 0 attack monster on the field. It's pretty terrifying. This thing, if your opponent tries to swing in, reduce their monster to 0, you don't take any damage. And the last one that's super relevant is your number 65 Djinn Buster. Because both these cards are dark and you get your additional normal summon, you can normal summon one of these, normal summon one of these, and turn into a rank 2, which is a quick effect and negate for any of your opponent's monster effects. So, a pretty important card you can summon quite often, and I highly recommend running it. As for the rest of the extra deck though, doesn't really matter. The Nightmares are pretty good. This card I don't think I've ever summoned, and I don't think I've even summoned the rank 10s either, so that's basically it for the deck list. Let's jump into some gameplay showcasing what this can do. Alright, so today I've got 8 replays to share with you guys, all of which were taken from a very decent spree I have with this deck list inside a Legend. Ended up going 17 wins with only 4 losses, which was a pretty significant spree, especially considering I ended up going on a 9-game win streak right at the end, where if I won the 10th, it would have been the COG rank up, and unfortunately, Super Poly into IDP with the Zombie World field spell with the Bold Rock on the field, and he didn't even need to search for anything. Like, the effect failure on my hand was completely worthless, and he had the most bullshit start imaginable, and of course, that happens and lost the COG rank up, so still pretty significant spree. This deck is easily a COGable deck list. I'm not sure how well it will do in tournament play, considering non-target removal is absolutely just a nightmare for this deck list to deal with, and in tournament play, I think if people see this deck being kind of popular, they just put a couple of IDPs in their deck or something like that, and it'll just struggle quite a bit, so not sure about that, but for ladder, you're gonna shit on everyone. It's a very, very good deck for ladder. Right, pretty similar to how like old Ubel worked actually, where it was just sort of a really strong ladder deck, but had terrible conversion in tournament play. Alright. So starting off with our opening of the Spirit Gates, searching for our card, grabbing the Skyfire with the Dark Beckoning Beast. Activating the field spell, Beast second normal summon, tributing the Beast. Summoning out the discard Winged Dragon of Ra, not discard, discount Winged Dragon of Ra. I'm actually not even used to seeing these animations because I skipped them the entire time I was playing the deck. Alright. Spectral summoning it back from the graveyard by discarding the field spell, which I can, sorry, the continuous spell, which we can then add back as well. Making the Linkuriboh just in case he does remove the Hamon, because having a 0 attack monster on the field is terrifying without some way to sort of defend it, so. Alright, tries to use his trap card's effect, we're going to negate that of course. But of course he had follow up as well, so. A bit unlucky. Alright, non-target destroy, but thankfully the field spell does protect from destruction as well, so he has to pop the field spell first. Before going into an Anguish, sucking up my Linkuriboh for some reason, just didn't pop this card, or for whatever reason, I don't know. Domination end phase going to pop this, he couldn't swing into this because the Hamon was protecting it. Alright, B is going to be searching for a second copy of the field spell, and he just concedes, because we were absolutely going to obliterate him there. But that's the main reason why we're playing 2 of the field spell, because your opponent has to remove it, and there's going to be a good chance you get a second one later on. Alright. Because without the field spell, this deck is complete rubbish, so I think it's pretty important to have multiple copies of it. It's pretty risky only playing one. Alright. Up against Mr. Silas over here. So this might be the start of the 9-game win streak, so I think I was already Legend 4 at this point. Might as well record a whole bunch of the win streak matches. Alright, so pretty important to note, like I said earlier during the decklist portion, because Shadow puts a card in the graveyard, my skill is already active, so I don't even need to search for the Sacred Beast, I can just put it on the field with the skill. So instead, we're going to make my Linkuriboh early, going to be banishing, going my field spell, just putting the Hamon straight on the field. Alright, didn't even need to use the... I made the Linkuriboh, but didn't even really need it because, well... I didn't even have the 0 attack monster on the field this time. Alright, Fallen Paradise, getting the Cerulean Skyfire, drawing a couple of cards into a Treacherous, and a couple of hand traps too, so pretty good. The odds of you drawing hand traps, by the way, off your Paradise is super high, because you're already playing a decent number, and the fact you just actually search so many cards from your deck, you thin the shit out of it, the chance of you hitting them is super high, so even just the 5 or 6 I have is easily enough to hit multiples, potentially. Right, now we're negating the fusion and negating this with the Veiler. Just banking he doesn't have Shadow fusion as well, and yeah, he's done so. Alright. So I think this is the start of the going second replays. Sherry LeBlanc. Alright. So starting off with, he's using his skill. I can't remember what variation he was playing. Oh yeah, he was playing Zombie. Oh, this is a really good replay, actually. I think this was killing a full Orcust Zombie field. I don't think he didn't start the Orcust field properly. He didn't have the Xyz monster on the field. Alright. Spectral summoning the Orcust to the field, banishing for the field spell. Using the return to draw a couple of cards and passing. Yeah, he didn't, I don't know why he didn't set up the Dingirsu, maybe he just didn't think he needed to. You should definitely make Dingirsu if you're playing Orcust with this deck, because otherwise, yeah, I could easily crack the field. Especially if you have like so much reliance on a field spell, it's pretty important to protect it. Alright, shuffling back into the deck, grabbing the 4000 attack monster. This is my first time I think even seeing this animation. I did not watch it a single time when I was playing. Alright. Flipping it face up, drawing a couple of cards. Hitting a Skullmeister, which is pretty important for the matchup potentially later on. I'm trying my best just to not use any monster effects, by the way, because I just do not want to trigger this thing whatsoever. And I'm pretty sure I can kill him without using one anyway. So because this card's second effect, the additional normal summon, isn't actually an effect, I can just normal summon to the field, or an activated effect. And then these two can become the Pentestag. Still haven't been able to trigger this Builder Rock yet. Then I can beat over his first monster, and now it's off the field. I can safely use monster effects, make this thing of 8000 attack, additional attacks, and yeah, piercing damage. So pretty cool little replay there. Alright, moving on to replay number 4. This is a Burning Abyss player, I think, actually. Might have been. Alright. So he's going to use his tour guide, placing his Burning Abyss on the field, making a Dante Millen. Ending on a Beatrice. I think he just passes there. Alright, normal summon Dark Beckoning Beast, grabbing the continuous. He's going to banish the beast before I can use it for an additional normal summon. Probably a good idea, because I'm just going to put my dude on the field anyway. There's no real need to hold on to this anymore. Alright, searching a follow-up for future turns. Then we're just going to shuffle back in, put the dude on the field. Activate the Paradise so I can draw an additional 2 cards. Hoping to potentially draw into the Spell and Trap negate, which is why I chose the Hamon. I actually could have grabbed the other one here and kept this in hand, because I can attack multiple times. Because this does summon a Synchro when I destroy it, so maybe I should have kept it on field so I can destroy both. I don't know, I'll keep that in hand. I was kind of valuing these 2 follow-up cards more, or the follow-up and the Veiler more. I had to use the Veiler on this anyway, so yeah, I probably should have destroyed this and not gone for this one. Alright, Unduel Goddess. Okay, I did something stupid here. I Treacherous Trap hold, thinking I was being smart by keeping the tour guide on field, because he can't summon the Burning Abysses, but he's about to special summon a negated Burning Abyss anyway, so it didn't even matter. Yeah, he summoned a negated one, I'm pretty sure. So he's able to just summon it to the field, doesn't get destroyed. Makes the Dante. Alright, these 2 become a Knightmare Phoenix to get rid of the field spell. Field spell is so annoying for most decks. Most decks actually just have to go into just really bad lines of play just to get rid of the field spell. So thankfully, can't really do much else, so he just passes. Call on Paradise, once again, drawing a couple of cards, getting the Skyfire. I don't think he even has any, he has like no disruption at this point outside of this, so as long as we can get our stuff onto the field without using any monster effects, basically the exact same as you saw in the previous duel, he's going to have a really bad time. Alright, now we've got the Buster on the field, so even if he does use the Doom King, we can just negate it. Swinging in, uses the Banshee, we can just negate the Board Rock when it tries to use its effect. Beat over this, minus 250, and takes an additional 1,000 from this as well. Alright, final 4 replays. Up against what I think is a Korean name. Playing, oh, this is a funny replay. Alright, this is when you're going to see the first instance of the 16,000 attacks you can put on your monster. So this guy was actually trying to play Trickstar, which is a very power crept deck now. Unfortunately, it's kind of fallen off a bit. Just a tad. So Festival turning into a Crimson Heart. We have a Veiler for that, which is good. Gotta wait for him to use it to discard though. And now he's only got 2 cards in hand, so unfortunate. Alright, Beckoning, going to be placing the card on the field. Alright, immediately going for putting the Raviel out. Discount Obelisk the Tormentor. Alright, and the second I did this, I'm pretty sure I worked out that he had an effect Veiler or some kind of hand trap in hand, because as soon as I flipped this, there was an effect that was activatable, so I didn't bother trying to go for any, I think I searched for a Beckoning Beast, a Chaos Summoning Beast, rather than searching for the guy that searched it, because I didn't want my opponent to effect Veiler me, then I'm left with a 0 attack monster on the field. That'd be awful. So at least if he effect Veilers this, it tributes itself, so I'm not completely screwed, basically. Not that any of that matters, because this guy was hella dead. Alright, summons the Hamon, Lord of Striking Thunder. Raviel going to tribute it for 8k, doubling that to 16,000, and he, despite having a white princess, which reduces this by a shit ton, I still have 13,000 attack, and he just concedes. Holy shit, that's a lot of attack. 13,000 after a white princess. Absolutely bonkers. Alright, I can't remember if this is a mirror match or not. I know I played a couple of mirror matches on the 6-game win streak. It was a mirror match, alright. So he went first, grabbing his Skyfire, grabbing the Beast. I don't know about this card. I tried running it a few times. It just felt like the only thing it was occasionally doing was letting me have a second one of these on the field going first, which is pretty irrelevant anyway, so I don't know. It feels pretty bad. Didn't bother running it. Thought just running a hand trap over it just made more sense. I'd way prefer to draw into a hand trap than that anyway. Alright, Beast going to be summoning out the Hamon. And yeah, it's on. Oh, here it is. So we do see the animation, just not from me, because I never summoned it in this video. Yeah, this card's literally only good at popping back row. I guess you can make Exceeders out of him, rank 10s. So that's kind of something. But this card is absolutely rubbish. Draws a couple of cards, setting up the Cerulean, and passes the turn. Alright. Skyfire being negated, which is fine, because it means our field spell is completely going to be alright now. Although the field spell was fine anyway, right? I guess he could have negated the draw too. I forget this negates the effects or the activations. I think it negates the effects. Alright, special summoning back, making a Linkuriboh. Gonna be using the Beast now to search for the field spell. Getting a nice little draw too. These two become the Pentestag. Making sure to keep this slot completely open, ready for summoning out the bigger boy with the skill. And now you're going to see exactly what we saw in the previous duel, just to his entire field. Well, if he's able to survive the first attack, that is. Piercing damage, 16,000, even if he lived, could have done it again to the 0 attack monster next to it. Alright. Final two. This deck is so ooga booga. To be fair, at least it's a little bit more brain intensive than Yubel actually is, because the actual Yubel decks are so boring. So at least it has a little bit, it's a little bit less glue eatery, but it's still pretty brain dead. Alright, 8-game win streak. Alright, so this must be the game that I won before the game that I lost the Cogray Cup. Unfortunate. I think anyway. Alright, Fallen Paradise, gonna be using the openings to search for the Raviel. Oh yeah, aside here, I was like, huh. If this card in hand isn't specifically a Blue Eyes, he probably can't do anything if I just put the field spell on the field and just put a Raviel on the field, because he's all Blue Eyes' back row is targeted, like literally all of it. So I'm just like, oh, I'll just make a Raviel. Well, it's targeted outside of that one fusion spell, but that fusion spell requires a Blue Eyes on field to pop cards anyway, and I'm immune to destruction anyway, so I really don't care. So as long as this isn't Blue Eyes, he's just dead on field. And it wasn't, so yeah, that was a very quick replay, that one. Alright, final replay. I think I played this just one game I played after the Cog loss. Or the Cog rank up loss. Yeah, win streak was done. Alright. Up against, yet again, another Blue Eyes opponent. Pretty annoying, because Effect Rare is, like, worthless versus that. So is my other hand trap. But in general, Blue Eyes struggles a lot with dealing with the non-target stuff you have with this deck. So they really have to, they use their removal on your field spell 100%. Alright, I've seen Hamon's animation enough. Fallen Paradise, drawing a couple of cards, hitting a Treacherous, which is pretty good. Making Linkuriboh, and unfortunately, didn't get the Spell and Trap card negate active, which is really strong versus Blue Eyes, but unfortunately, didn't get it. Yeah, I think if you get the Splendid Trap card negate active, you're probably favored versus Blue Eyes, but without it, it's a little bit more sus. It's going to Fate Evader to hopefully stop this. Didn't manage to because he had a Blue Eyes in hand, of course. And now we're in a very big spot of bother. He also has Melody. This guy opened the perfect hand, actually. Alright, I can't Treacherous Trap hold the alternative here, because if I did that, it would be, it'd mean he'd just chain this quick play spell and then pop my whole field. And losing this card would be completely terrible, so I need to wait till he uses the fusion spell so I can pop these 2 cards and hopefully defend the Linkuriboh. His alternative is going to pop the Hamon anyway, so it's fine. Yeah, so now we'll use it so he has no monster on field, so he can't destroy this. So I can hopefully survive the turn. He's already used his normal summon, so we should be safe. Swings in, reduce it to 0. And pass it over. Beckoning Beast, fantastic top deck, grabbing the Phantasms, grabbing the field spell. Now we can use our skills to just place the guy straight on the field. And yeah, he's just dead on field. Even drawing a couple of... Actually, no, he's not dead on field, sorry. He lives a little bit. Necro Valley, okay, now he's dead on field. I think I messed around for a little bit, but he's just dead. I'm pretty sure at this point this was a Successor Soul, because none of it was activatable at this point, despite having multiple monsters that could be targeted. So let's make a link, because why not? And he's dead. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's replays. Hope you guys enjoyed them. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. There'll be a ton of videos still this week based around all the new box stuff, so look forward to that. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you see you in the next one. Laters.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob?
Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis.
Oh.